All right, so this week I've been in a couple conversations around the concept of purpose. And specifically, what do we do when we don't feel like we know our purpose or we have alignment with our purpose? Maybe we're trying to discover, the purpose of our life as well. And basically, when it's not in place, it's not aligned, both the impacts that has, but like, what do we actually do about that? So I want to spend a few minutes here with you, exploring some of the thoughts and the ways that I've helped others create purpose. It's a pretty cool conversation. So, first place, let's talk about the impact of not knowing purpose. Um, this can show up in different forms, you could say. I remember when I was working as a correctional officer that um, it felt like I wasn't living out my purpose. And that was very challenging in the sense that, yeah, it just felt like there was not an alignment. And I was looking for my purpose in my career, and that was sort of the central focus. So that's just like one piece to recognize, is that oftentimes when we think about our purpose, we're outsourcing it to the world, whether it's through our career or through our family, those types of things. And the I want to bring this back to that piece that I was talking about in terms of impact. Let's just be discreet about that. Is that the impact is often that we feel scattered. We feel out of alignment. We feel that we're getting pushed and pulled and tugged in, different directions. It kind of has this feeling of like, I would just come back to that piece around alignment. Like, we feel out of alignment with who we are as a human being. And I'm sure you can continue to find the pieces for yourself where like there's an impact of not knowing. And so let's start to make that shift. Let's start to look at like, what would it mean to live with purpose, to live in alignment with your highest purpose. And the first place that I would look at is first the definition. To me, the definition of life purpose is the thing, the quality, the characteristic that represents your life at the highest level. So the top of the mountain, and I'm going to get into this more. But that's really what it is. Like, what is the North Star, the thing that you live your life for, that is at the highest levels, and then from that it radiates down into family or career, lifestyle, etc. So that's kind of like the raw definition that I would give it. And so if you sit with that, like, okay, like, my purpose is, the North Star, the thing that, is the generator of my entire life. Now we start to get into the places of like, well, why hasn't this been created for you? Maybe you've been in this conversation for months, years, decades even, and the first place that I would have you look is that it's likely that you're trying to be too much of a perfectionist on this. That you are holding that this purpose has to be known. You have to have the right answer for this, and until that point, like, nothing is good enough. My invitation to you is to bring some flexibility, bring some adaptability to this, and see if, like, well, can you start to just play with a purpose that feels in alignment, but that could be changed over time. I talked about the top of the mountain, so I'm not going to get back into that piece of the discussion. I feel like, there's enough there. But then the other piece that I would add in is being able to expand your scope. So again, if you remember my example about corrections and sort of looking at my career as purpose, this is where people often get hooked, is that their purpose becomes focused on their career or their family, or maybe on like creating freedom in their life. Those are all subsets of a higher purpose, right? So if we get hooked by how much money we're making, the experiences that we create in life, these are all things that are malleable. They're going to pull us in different directions. And so the invitation there is to really think about the highest level possibility. Expand your scope. What would your purpose be if it had the greatest connection to humanity? If your purpose was in alignment with the greatest good of humanity itself, how then would that start to shape your purpose? And then the last thing that I would just offer you is that a great place of starting to explore purpose is just using one, maybe two, maybe three words that could describe your purpose. So like for mine, and I've crafted my purpose in different ways over the years. My words are transcendence and magic, and I think that's it for now. And so for me, I really connect to if my purpose of living is to bring transcendence and magic to the world, how does that shape everything that I do? And so my invitation to you again is to look at maybe just a couple key words that you can be in alignment with, right? Maybe your purpose is love. Maybe your purpose is possibility. Maybe your purpose is connection. Use those as the anchors to start to forge your purpose. I love this conversation. It's one that is underrated, and it's one that I create with all of my coaching clients in my private program. And I'm starting to really feel I got to really emphasize this more, because it is really powerful when we have that alignment with our purpose. I've created a training inside of the Foundations of Masculine Leadership course, which is a free course that is available to you if you are interested in many amazing topics, but specifically I did a training on forging your values and forging your purpose, and I'll make sure to drop a link for that below. And with that, let me know if you have any questions around this, any places where you feel stuck, and I'm happy to give you some support. All right, you have a wonderful day. Bye for now.